How to administrate the affairs of the cities and servants of Allah.
In order to Marlik Al-Ashtar. Therefore, be very careful of the welfare of the poor people. Do not be arrogant and vain against them. Remember that you have to take particular care of those who cannot reach you, whose poverty-stricken and disease-ridden sight may be hateful to you, and whom society treats with disgust, detestation, and contempt. You should be a source of comfort, love, and respect to them. Appoint a respectable, honest, and pious person, a person who fears Allah and who can treat them honorably. Order him to find out everything about them and to submit a report to you. Then treat these poor people in such a way that on the day of judgment you can plead your case successfully before Allah. Because of all classes of your subjects, this class deserves more of your attention, sympathy, and fair deal. Though every one of these poor persons deserves your sympathy and you will have to do justice to his cause to achieve his favor, yet you should pay more attention to young orphans and old cripples. They neither have any support nor can they conveniently come out begging. They cannot reach you, therefore, you must reach them. Remember that the fulfillment of this obligation and duty is considered as a tiresome burden by most of the rulers, but to those who desire to achieve his blessings and to enter into his realm, even this work seems light and congenial. They bear it happily, dutifully, and sincerely. They find pleasures in it and they believe in the promise made by Allah. Out of your hours of work, fix a time for the complainants and for those who want to approach you with their grievances. During this time you should do no other work but hear them and pay attention to their complaints and grievances. For this purpose you must arrange public audience for them. During this audience, for the sake of Allah, treat them with kindness, courtesy, and respect. Do not let your army and police be in the audience hall at such times so that those who have grievances against your regime may speak to you freely, unreservedly, and without fear. All this is a necessary factor of your rule, because I have often heard the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, saying, that nation or regime, where that rights of the depressed, destitute, and suppressed are not guarded, and where the mighty and powerful persons are not forced to accede these rights, cannot achieve salvation. You must remember that in those audiences the most common men will gather. Therefore, if you find them misbehaving, becoming unmannerly, or if you feel that their talk is irrelevant, tolerate them, do not be rude and do not insult them, so that Allah may be kind and merciful to you and may reward you for obeying His commands explicitly. Treat them courteously, hear their grievances patiently, and if you are forced to reject their demands, then reject them in such a way that your rejection may please them as much as your grants. Then there are certain duties which only you will have to perform and which none of your officers can carry out. Among them are replies to the letters of your commissioners and governors and are beyond the jurisdiction or preview of your secretaries. If you find that your officers are not attending as much to the complaints of the public as they should, then you should personally attend to them. You must finish a day's work on that day only, because each day will bring its own special work for you. Reserve your best time for prayers to Allah, though every work of the state is the work of Allah, especially, if you are sincere and honest, and if your subjects are happy with your rule and are safe from your oppression. Among those duties that you are to perform diligently must be your daily prayers. These should be offered sincerely and persistently. You must fix times for this during days and nights. You must tax your bodily strength for this duty, though it may tire you. Your observance of prayers should be sincere and faultless, and should neither be so long as to tire out those who follow you in these prayers, nor so short as to be faulty and defective, because amongst those who follow you during the prayers, there may be some sick persons, while others may have to attend to some important work. When the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, sent me to Yemen, I asked him how to lead the prayers. He advised me, offer prayers like a weak and old person, and be kind to the faithful, so that weak and old persons may follow your prayers easily and happily. You must take care not to cut yourself off from the public. Do not place a curtain of false prestige between you and those over whom you rule. Such pretensions and show of pomp and pride are in reality manifestations of inferiority complex and vanity. The result of such an attitude is that you remain ignorant of the conditions of your subjects and of the actual cases of the events occurring in the state. You will fail to realize comparative importance of events taking place, and may attach great significance to minor events and may slip over important facts. Similarly, you may attach importance to mediocre or insignificant people and may ignore real men of consequence, and what is more, you may lose the power of distinction between good and bad and may take one for the other or hopelessly mix up the two. After all, a ruler is as much a human being as any other man, and he may remain ignorant of facts of which his officers want to keep him in the dark, and on which the public may throw light. Thus truth may get mixed up with falsehood and may not be distinguished because there are no birthmarks on the forehead of truth that it may be easily differentiated from falsehood. One has to search for facts and sift realities from fictions, only then can one reach the truth. Think for yourself, there are only two categories of rulers and you may belong to one of them. You may either be a pious, sincere, and diligent ruler, doing the right thing at the right moment and following the principles of justice and equity, and you may be protecting rights of others and doing your best to fulfill your obligations. In that case, why hide from the public? Why draw a curtain around yourself? Or you may be a miser, refusing to be generous to anyone. In that case, people will gradually come to know of this trait of your character and will gradually give up asking for favors from you. But do not overlook the fact that most of their demands will have nothing to do with your private purse. They will be about the rights of people, obligations of the state, complaints against the state, oppressions, and solicitations of justice. Then why try to avoid hearing these requests? You should never overlook the fact that around the rulers there usually are certain privileged persons, relatives, and friends. They may often try to take advantage of their status and may resort to selfishness, intrigues, fraud, corruption, and oppression. If you find such people around you, then do away with them, however closely connected they may be with you. Immediately bring an end to the scandal and clear your surroundings of all such moral and spiritual filth. You must never give lands in permanent lease with all proprietary and ownership rights to your friends and relatives. You must never allow them to take possession of the source of water supply or lands which have special utility for the communes. If they get possession of such holdings, they will oppress others to derive undue benefits and thus gather all the fruits for themselves, leaving for you a bad reputation in this world and punishment in the next.